Is my gone? Episode 144. What's wrong with Orny Adams? I was flying out to Vegas on Friday, and a fight broke out on the plane. Now, first of all, full disclosure, I was on Southwest. I know you guys expect more from me, but I was flying Southwest, and I was in the B groups. I wasn't even in the A groups for seating. I was a B4. Somehow I got a seat up front, which made me feel like I was A group, but in the seats right next to me. And when I say up front, I was in the first row with the old people, bunch of old people, because they get on first. They either by priority or because they're injured by life, they need extra assistance. They're there. So it's me, the youngest person. Then next to me, what appeared to be like a crack addict. And the middle seat was open, and a guy that to me looked like he might have been in the military, looked like he could handle himself. He said, "Is the middle seat taken?" And the guy was like, "No." And the crackhead on the end didn't move, just stood. So the middle seat guy tried to climb over him. That's when the fight broke out. This is inches away from me. So now these two are squaring off, and I'm thinking, do I get involved? If they start pushing each other, somebody's landing on me. So I've got to be prepared. And, I don't shy away from conflict. I'm also good at resolving situations like this. I'm really good at diffusing fights with reason. So I thought, okay, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to say, hey guys, it's not worth it. Let's just settle down. But first I turn around. Nobody's got their cameras out. Now, I'm not breaking up a fight if it's not going to end up on TMZ. If it's not making the news, I'm not doing it. So I stay seated. It resolved itself. And, then the flight attendant came up to me and she said, not to make this awkward, bring this down, Eric. Not to make this awkward, but I know who you are. And I said, that's interesting because I don't even know who I am. And she said, I was at your show a few weeks ago at the Laugh Factory. Nikki Glazer was supposed to be on the show. She didn't show up. I think that was one of the nights she was preparing for the awards show. And just, too busy. She said, but you saved the show. That's right. That's what I do. I save shows. And then she said, got my Costa Rican whistle. I got to play along. Hold on. This thing is like, it's coming out of it. It's got an ass and then an ass. It's coming out of the tail and the ass. I'm going to back down. So she said, yeah, we were at your show at the Laugh Factory a couple weeks ago. Then we came and saw you at the Comedy Magic Club. I said, well, why don't you come see me tonight? I'm at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, Kimmel's, right there at the Link Promenade. She said, we're flying out of town. I said, bummer. Then the old lady in the seat to my right, not next to the fight, said, oh, you're a comedian. And they wanted to come. And then now I'm in a weird position because I've offered free tickets to the flight attendant, but I didn't offer free tickets to the old lady who looked like she had a lot of money. In fact, I know she did. She told me what hotel she was staying at. So, there's the lesson. I'm only breaking up a fight if it's being filmed. And these people on Southwest didn't understand the seriousness, what a dire situation they were in, that I almost had to diffuse, de-escalate, bring peace to. But the whole flight, now the guy in the middle seat actually sat in the middle seat the whole flight. There were still seats open. I would have been like, screw this crackhead. I would have left. And this crackhead looked like he could handle himself too. But, I'm like a sensei. I'm prepared. I'm ready for this. I'm ready as long as the cameras are rolling. And I can get a little bit of exposure, maybe a career bump, maybe something to talk about, because I figure the clip goes viral because it's a fight. It combines two things, a fight on a plane and a famous person named Orny Adams. Nobody was rolling. But it brings me back to my modern premise I've discussed before. When something like this happens, do you get involved or do you film? Like if you see a little kid drowning, do you film or do you get involved? Right? Somebody hit by a car, do you film or get involved? Because what's more important, saving that person's life or getting notoriety? Well, in today's day and age, it's getting notoriety. Not too sure what's going on with Southwest. Once again, Burbank to Las Vegas, no service because it was too bumpy. Didn't feel bumpy to me until the end. So this is a built-in excuse now. But it appears to me, and now I'm friends with some of the flight attendants, so I hate to throw my airline under the bus here, my Southwest airline. Seems like flight attendants on Southwest have lost their spirit. No reference to that other airline. But they used to have fun with the announcements. They used to joke around. This was like a military operation seating us. They were, and I'm talking the outbound, Vegas to Burbank. They were like taking people's bags, making them check their bags. They were hustling people around. There was no cuteness in the announcements. Again, no service going back either. No service going back. So Southwest, to me, has lost its spirit. In fact, most airlines have lost their spirit. Most, I'm not saying airlines, I mean, most employees have checked out. According to Gallup's latest data, revealed that only 39% of employees think someone cares about them as people at work. So these people working don't feel respected. Less than half say that their bosses and colleagues treat them with respect. And just 30% say their place of work encourages potential and development. So they feel stuck. Other studies from the last 5 years show 30% of people feel invisible at work. Well, not when they're yelling at you to sit down and put your bag under your seat. 65% feel underappreciated, and close to 82% of workers say they felt lonely at work. Well, whose business is that? If you feel lonely, we're not there to entertain. So people are checked out. I talk about it on stage all the time. This whole stupid finds me is all about checked out employees, wherever you are. Nobody seems to care. They're showing up, and I don't know why the companies allow this. Like, there's got to be a way to increase morale so these Southwest flight attendants they care again. So the people at, like, Starbucks. I went to Starbucks at the Vegas airport. One of the most unpleasant experiences I've had in a long time. It's a shithole. It's dirty. It's nobody knows where to stand. People have ordered. They're all over the place. One person ordered, and then 5 people ordered after that person. Now, for some reason, those 5 other people got their drinks before that person who ordered first did. There's no order. There's nobody to talk to. They're all ignoring you. They've got masks on. They're not looking at people. They don't give a shit. They don't want to be there. Why does Starbucks allow this? The demise of Starbucks is fascinating. How it went from one of the premier brands in my lifetime, this boutique, this beautiful, like we're going to yell out the order. I have a caramel latte, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody go, caramel latte, blah, 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 blah. Like it was an experience. Now the experience is shut the hell up, take whatever we give you and leave. And I'll give you an example. I ordered a turkey, bacon, egg white little sandwich. And I ordered it on the app because I didn't want to wait in line. I ordered it on the app, but there's no modification on the app that says double cook this thing. If you don't put double bake or triple bake on your little sandwich from Starbucks, it comes out like sushi. It's sushi. It's moist. It's gross. It's floppy. There's no density to the bread. You worry about salmonella, E. coli in the egg, bird flu, avian bird flu. Of course, these eggs were probably baked 6 years ago, so they're fine. And so I said to the woman baking the stuff, hey, I have an order under the name O. I just use the initial O. Oh, could you double bake that? I had to go, excuse me. Excuse me? And off stage, like, I can be timid. Excuse me. Hi, I just ordered. How you doing? And give a shit about the hellos, the niceties. There's nothing. Yeah, I ordered and I just, if you could double bake that low-fat turkey bacon egg sandwich, make it crispy. Yeah, and just walks away. What do you think happened? I got it. It was disgusting. Now, who can you talk? There's no one to talk to. They're so overwhelmed. So I understand the employees are overwhelmed. I'm empathetic to that. But somebody needs to come in. I'm looking at you, Starbucks, right into the lens of this camera. I'd be happy to come in and overhaul one of your stores. Now, you're going to have to pay me because it's going to take some time. But I can increase spirit. I can get people that want to work there. And the people that don't want to work there, you can leave. I'll find a robot. I'll find somebody. There's people that want to work and want to have pride in where they work. And what does it come down to? 39% of employees don't think that someone cares about them at work. They don't feel like they're needed. So these employees at Starbucks, I understand why they're doing what they do. They're probably not getting paid enough. They're seeing a lot of money coming in and coming out. Hey, Starbucks, you're making a lot of money really fast because you're fast food. You're faster than McDonald's right now. And the same level. I just get a cup of coffee, but your sandwiches and your baked shit and your baked goods, it's crap. It's crap. Let's not kid ourselves. Starbucks is serving us crap. What, a scone? A donut is healthier than the Starbucks scone. I would bet that. I'm not saying that for a fact, but I bet if you put the calories up and the fat, you're better off having a donut. So don't masquerade yourselves as this hotty-totty coffee place anymore. You're fast food. Now, how do we get these employees? We need a manager in there. I don't blame these employees in Vegas. I blame upper management. Starts at the top. That head's got to be chopped off. Everybody underneath it. And you have to get people in that care. Somebody needs to travel to every Starbucks in America and revamp the spirit, the ruach, as my people call it. Get people that want to be there. I'm so sick of giving a shit about my job. I go out there and bleed. I nearly have heart attacks doing my show. Do you understand what it takes to do a show in Las Vegas with that crappy air and the dryness? It's not hard. I feel my whole body physically breaking down. But do I stop? Do I pull punches? No, because I care. And I would only work at a place that I cared. So every job I've ever had, whether it was a caddy, I was going to be the best I could be. When I worked at the mental hospital, I was the least mental person there. And that was my goal. And I worked as a security guard. I worked in the kitchen. I worked in the kitchen at Corey's of Lexington washing dishes. And then I would help them cook potatoes on Sunday because I felt like I had a great recipe for potatoes. So the chef let me cook potatoes. Then I worked at different paparazzi. I worked at a lot of places. And it seems like a lot of places I go into. Now, I don't have to repeat my stories, but you can watch my Staples bit on one of my specials. Like, I seem to know more than the employees do, and I seem to care more than the employees do. So that's where we're at. Nobody cares. And the robots are coming for all of you. All of you. Because as far as I'm concerned, whatever those people are doing behind the counter at these coffee places, most of them aren't grinding coffee. They're not patting it down in the little thing and putting it in the other little thing and pressing start. Look at my body's breaking down on this podcast. As far as I'm concerned, they're just hitting buttons. I could hit a button. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same technology they have in hospitals where you just press a button and coffee comes out. They should just have Keurig machines there for us. So somehow we have to motivate people to care. The only way this world is going to succeed is if you care about what you do. Do something that you enjoy. Have pride. Have pride in being the best at whatever job you're at. And Starbucks, making a lot of money, needs to pay their employees more. And there needs to be a manager there. They were understaffed. I mean, get it together. And call me. I don't know who's in charge of Starbucks anymore. Think your stock has taken a hit. I know if I have a choice, I go to other coffee places. I used to keep a balance of over $100 on my card at all time. I used to love Starbucks. I used to love getting rewards and free drinks. I don't care anymore. Your drip coffee's fine when it's hot, but a lot of the times it's lukewarm because you used to have timers. And after like 20 minutes, you go, and it meant throw out the old coffee, make new coffee. They don't even do that anymore as far as I can tell. because I get a lot of lukewarm coffee. And that sandwich and coffee I got in Vegas was so disgusting. It was like just enough to hold me over until I can get really good stuff. And I shouldn't have had to pay for it. I really shouldn't have. And I didn't have the time because my flight was leaving. And going back, I was in an A group. No fights, but I was in an A group. I was A59. Got a great seat. And there was another famous person on the flight. I don't want to say who, but he might be popping on my podcast. I think we'd be happier if when we left the house, we encountered people that were happy. I don't see any happiness anymore. Do you? Do you see happiness? I'll tell you what's changed in the last few years of my life. I've stopped making eye contact with people. I walk down the street, head down, I don't care. I don't care to connect with people. I don't care to connect with anybody at that Starbucks or on that Southwest flight or anything. I don't talk to people next to me, around me, because people are also in life checked out and we're exhausted. We're exhausted. And to me, that's sad because I like talking to people. I normally did. It's why I started this podcast. It was because I wanted to talk to interesting people. And you say, Orny, well, it seems like a lot of the times it's just you. There's no guest. And I'm like, well, that's why. It's hard to talk to people now. It's hard to relate to people. Switching subjects, I have in my note, fight the bill. So these ongoing, like every year you get a bill. It could be cable, but there's a bunch of them now. And they seem to creep up and creep up and creep up. And it's usually not enough that you want to make a phone call. I'm telling you to fight the bill. Always fight the bill. I have a streaming service that just went up. I pay annually. And it could be anything. It could be my transfer program I use for big files on my computer. It could be my editing programs. Every year, I call and renegotiate. Now, does the $30 I'm saving mean anything to me? Well, it does, because why should I pay it? And why does it keep going up? And they know if it creeps up one year, they can get away with it creeping up the next year and another year and another year. And it trickles and it trickles, or it just keeps going. And then they do it to other people. So it's my civic duty, and I beg you too, to fight. Fight these bills. And there's two reasons to fight them. One, it's nonsense that they keep raising them. It's absolute nonsense. And that they get away with it. And if there's resistance may stop that. Two, it really helps your negotiation skills. You want to learn how to negotiate? Like a big deal? Like let's say you're preparing to buy your first home. There's a lot of negotiations on all different aspects. You want to get something repaired in your home? Negotiations. You're up for a new job? You want to get a raise? It's a negotiation. You're in a relationship? It's a negotiation. Everything in life is a negotiation. And you can teach yourself. So, okay, on a big deal for my career, I may, there's more invested for me. I don't want to lose that deal, perhaps. So I may tread more softly. But when it's saving $30 on my annual fee, I can go balls out. And I can test the limits. And I can teach myself when to pause. Listen to that person. Let that person finish. Don't jump in. Let them drown in those words. I can figure out when to speak up, when to do a veiled threat to leave, or whatever it is. You can teach yourself. Now, it's harder and harder now because people don't get, the people on the other line don't care. There's no can I talk to your manager? Are you old enough to remember, if you're listening to this podcast probably, when you could say, could I speak to your manager? And they would get nervous and they go, okay. And then the manager would come on and care a little bit more. The manager, there is no manager. The manager is them just talking through it like a voice box. Yeah, okay. This is the manager? Yes, did you want to speak to the... Yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, my subscription goes up like $30 every year. I didn't call last year, but I thought that... So what are you saying? Yeah, I just, are you... I think you were told in the previous call by the person beneath me that there was nothing we could do. I said, oh, okay. Are you willing to lose me, as a customer? Sir, I don't have time for this. Is there anything else I can help you with today? That's what, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. They don't care. Restaurants just, oh, can I speak to the manager? Now the waiter just starts filming you like, oh, hold on. Hey, everybody, I'm in Big Jimmy's here, and looks like this person's about to have a meltdown. We're going to get this on camera. It's harder and harder because, once again, they're part of that 39%, according to Gallup, of employees that think that nobody cares about them at work. They don't feel like there's any place for potential growth and development. They feel invisible at work. These are all in the 30 percentiles. And 65% feel underappreciated, and 82% feel lonely. So, you know what? A lot of the times you're talking to lonely people. I should say that. They should say, hi, it's Orny Adams. I was talking to the last employee who was great, but I just have some questions about my bill.
Oh yeah, what questions do you have?
It just goes up. Well, first of all, are you lonely?
Oh my God, how did you know?
I just hear it in your mega voice.
Yeah, I feel underappreciated and lonely, and I'm sad. And I have no control. I mean, I would lower your bill if I could, but I can't. I'm just, in fact, all of us over here are just sad. Yeah, it's, I don't know if you saw the Gallup poll, but, yeah, it's 82% of workers feel lonely.
I wonder what percentage of people in my shows feel lonely. 99%? It's got to be a lot. It's got to be a lot. Going to talk about on this podcast the Sarasota flight, because I'm going back to Sarasota this month at the end of March. Orny Adams, Sarasota, McCurdy's Comedy Club. Tickets Saturday night, almost sold out. Friday, first show selling out. Get on that. We just added a Thursday show, so ornyadams.com/tour. And then back in Vegas again, first week of April, April like 4 and 5, I think. And I might be back on that airline if I decide not to drive. So I'm going to talk about that flight because the FAA or whoever investigates that flight. Remember the flight where I almost my plane almost hit somebody else? Be talking about that. I will be talking about that. This guy sent this article, JR, about, remember the last podcast? I know it feels like it was forever ago. That would have been podcast 143, What's Wrong with Orny Adams? This guy named JR sent me an email. He said, big fan. Said it twice. Now, JR, why not big fan 3 times? Why not big fan, exclamation, big fan, 3 exclamation marks? JR says, I listen to almost all of your podcasts while I work out. Hilarious. JR, can I ask you a question? Do you feel lonely when you're listening to my podcast? JR continues. Today I heard you talking about how Trader Joe's wheat crisps are almost identical to Wheat Thins. They may be 100% identical. Trader Joe's uses the same third-party manufacturers as the big guys for a lot of their products, thus making them the same as the original. Here's the article. Sends me an article that's in eater.com. Now, I don't know eater.com. Sounds pretty official. Must be about eating. Must be for people who are eaters. Here's the some of the article. Gardner was a former VP of marketing and an advertising consultant before taking a job as a crew member at Trader Joe's store in Kansas City 6 years ago. Despite being a bit overqualified, he had an agenda, a personal mission to uncover the secrets behind the grocery chain's huge success. In the end, he walked away with enough intel to write a book, revealing some of the business's branding tactics. Okay, so he wrote a book, so now I'm plugging some book? I'm a book plugger. But even from the inside, Gardner could not unveil Trader Joe's biggest and best-kept secret, the hush-hush identities of the companies that produce the grocer's beloved products. As a private brand, the California-based Trader Joe's orders most of its products from third-party manufacturers, including giants like PepsiCo and Snyder's-Lance. Well, Snyder-Lance, that's a household name. Never heard of that. Many of these brands sell the same or similar products under their own names for a higher price. The catch is that Trader Joe's and its suppliers all but swear to keep the agreement a secret. Suppliers aren't allowed to say they supply Trader Joe products, Gardner says, and Trader Joe's never willingly talks about who their suppliers are. On top of that, boy, there's more on top of that. Nobody saw it on top of that coming. On top of that, Trader Joe's executives and owners are notoriously tight-lipped about operations and hardly speak to the press about the business requests for details, especially about manufacturers. And they generally, that hasn't stopped many of them from speculating, even trying to sniff out Trader Joe's suppliers. Then they give a list. You can find this article, a list. They go side by side. And sure enough, Wheat Thins is made in Canada and Wheat Crisps are made in Canada. They may be made in the same exact factory. Now, my question to Wheat Thins is, why do you allow this? If this is the case, wouldn't you say, I'd put a counter on the machine. I want every single Wheat Thin accounted for. I'd go in on the weekends and go, hold on a second here. Wait a minute. This is a Monday through Friday operation. What are we doing? Making Wheat Thins and selling them to Trader Joe's as Wheat Crisps? Like, I'd be on top of that. Once again, if Wheat Thins needs me to go undercover, much like I'm about to revamp a Starbucks, I'd be more than happy to. I'm just fired up about all of this. So, I don't have time to read and really get to the bottom of it. I expect you, the listeners, to. But apparently, a lot of these knockoffs, these generics, these store brands, whether it's at the supermarket or wherever, are the same product. And when I was growing up, I was always told, buy generic aspirin. It's the same as Bayer. I always have. Except, like if a chick comes over and she sees I got generic, she's like, oh, maybe this guy's not doing as good as I thought he was. So what do? You buy one package of the real stuff, the Bayer, and then you put the generic in there after it's gone. It's a little tip for guys that want to have a little more swagger in their house. I like I like a lot of generic stuff, but my other question is Wheat Thins profiting from the Trader Joe's Wheat Crisps? Maybe they're in on it. And here's another thought. Who gives a shit? Thanks, JR. Thanks, buddy. Rachel sent this in email. Rachel's a Patreon subscriber, and it's the article is about bison meat. Now, why is this interesting to me, Rachel? I'm going to tell you why. Because on my, not my last birthday in November, but the birthday before that. So now we're talking about a year and maybe 4 months. Let me count this out. November to December to January to February. 3 months. Less than 3 months. So 15 months. My parents sent me some corned beef, which was all packaged and sealed from a New York deli, and some pastrami. And I ate one of them. It's like 2 pounds of it, but I froze the other. I haven't had a chance to eat it. The other day I pulled it out. I'm like, I'm in the mood from my mom and dad's birthday gift. I'm going to eat it. And I thought, can you eat meat? So I go online. FDA says, CDC says, everybody says, year, 9 months. Is the meat cooked? Is it raw? Is it ground meat? Like, is it a million? And I'm thinking, screw it. I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to get sick. I've got shows coming up in Sarasota. Then I read this, what Rachel sent me. In 1979, this is from NPR. Researchers unearthed the mummified body of a 55,000-year-old steppe bison in the Alaskan tundra. Shortly after, they sliced off a piece of the neck and ate it. Now, if you can eat frozen bison that's 55,000 years old, pretty sure you can eat corned beef from a New York City deli from 15 months ago. So what are the real answers? Does anybody have the real answers to anything anymore? That's all I want to know. I want to know a lot of things. You know what? I feel underappreciated. Wait, let me read all this stuff. Maybe I feel all this stuff. 39% of employees think someone someone cares about them. Don't think that people care about them at work. Yeah, I'm part of that. Definitely. When I go to work, most people don't care about me. Yeah, absolutely. Less than half say their bosses and colleagues treat them with respect. But I'd say that. Well, to my face, I get treated with respect. I don't know what goes on behind my back. People feel invisible. 30% feel invisible at work. That I don't feel. I feel very visible. I feel underappreciated. I feel all that stuff. I never feel lonely at work, though. I love working. I love being on stage. This put this down as the shit show called Los Angeles and just life. It's ridiculous. Los Angeles homeowner says, oh, I read this before I get into this. A guy who does like LA in a minute. I don't know if that's a podcast. I don't know what it is. But he was, just checking to make sure everything's recording. He was doing a podcast. His house was broken into. Check this out. House was broken into, was on hold with 911 for 59 minutes. That's my city. 59 minutes. What are we paying taxes for? We need a lot more police in this city. I called 911 a few times. I talk about it on stage. And half the times they ask you, should we even come up? You're like, what do you mean? Somebody lit what looked like a bomb outside of my gate. I called 911. They're like, well, is it out? I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, so what do you want us to do? I'm like, why don't you come up and look at it? And maybe it's a pipe bomb. Maybe this is happening in other parts of the city. Maybe you want to collect intel, some information. Why am I telling you how to do your job? I'm sorry, you guys, the fire department, so it was before the fires. This is 2-3 years ago. It was early Sunday morning, and I called. They go, okay, we'll send. They were here within 2 minutes. I love the fire department, but I blame that 911 operator. Okay, here's this story. Like I said before, the firefighters in LA, I could not be more grateful to, that saved my home during those fires and saved a lot of homes and risked their lives. And we sort of forgot how much we appreciate and need firemen after 9/11. If you remember, there was a lot of respect for the firemen and firewomen and fire people after then, the fire days after that. And I appreciate the police that do their job right and protect people like me that need protecting. Could have used on that Southwest flight when the fight broke out. Los Angeles homeowner says city is making him tear down a massive treehouse. This is what it's come down to. Treehouses got to go. Anything fun. A legal showdown is brewing over a massive treehouse in Sherman Oaks, known for its whimsical design inspired by an episode of The Simpsons. The treehouse, built, ready for this, 24 years ago by Rick Polizzi, a former producer on the beloved animated series, became a community staple and a gathering spot for neighborhood children. Let's tear that down. Don't want the kids having fun. Oh, what? We have something that the kids can do that doesn't involve a device, a phone or an iPad or a computer or a gaming console? I'll tear it down. Get those kids inside. Those kids must be on devices. It was built 24 years ago. But despite its popularity, despite its popularity with the neighborhood kids, legal challenges by the city of Los Angeles over permits, and zoning have threatened the landmark's future. They said I don't have the right permit for it, but I've been trying to make the treehouse legal forever, Polizzi said. The city's just not having it. The legal troubles began when a neighbor complained. Now, let me tell you something. I got neighbors behind me that are chopping down trees nonstop. They're doing it today. It drives me nuts. I don't complain to the city. I'm sure there's a lot of things in my neighborhood I'd like to complain to the city about, but I don't. In fact, today, they've been chopping and grinding in the wood chipper all morning. They've been wood chippering the wood. I don't know why it's called a chipper. It makes pisses the neighborhood off. It's anything but chipper. It's a wood unchipper. Okay, it's because it makes it into wood chips. Well, why not call it a wood chip maker? A chipper makes it sound cute. Remember Fargo? I think Fargo, that movie, that took place in Minnesota. I think they shoved bodies through the wood chipper. So my neighbors are all day. In fact, I was texting Eric, who helps me with this podcast, with the audio, and I said, "Hey, I don't know what's going to happen because they're cutting down trees, and now they get the wood chipper, and the wood chipper's loud. Like that's more than just a chainsaw. Now we got the. I mean, it's the whole neighborhood shaking." I went out there. I said, "What's how long you guys? You guys going to be taking a break?" And the guy, I don't think the guy understood me, but a few minutes later, somebody rang the doorbell. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He said, "Listen, we'll be doing this all day." I said, "Well, are you taking a break? Because I've got to record something. I've got a studio right there." And he said, "In a half hour, we're going to stop and we're going to take a 2-hour break." I said, "Perfect. Thank you." And we fist bumped. We were both elated because we both got what we wanted. Now that's how you negotiate. That's how you do a deal. And that's how I'm a good neighbor, and I want credit for that. The legal troubles, back to the treehouse. The legal troubles began when a neighbor complained about the increased attention the treehouse was drawing, sparking a 7-year legal dispute, 7 years over a treehouse, that has cost Polizzi $50,000 to defend and even led to criminal charges. Imagine that. You're arrested for having a treehouse. In this world, where so much goes wrong, we're arresting people for having a treehouse, for joy, bringing joy to kids. This neighbor's something else. This neighbor's something else. What are the kids being a little loud for the 1 hour they're in it on the weekends? Polizzi continues. Polizzi, I think I'm saying his name right. This is a guy who used to be the producer for The Simpsons and owns the treehouse. We went to the pretrial last month. It was just so frustrating. We did not get to have our say, Polizzi said. When we left, I just said, I'm not going back to this trial. We'll tear it down so the case gets dismissed. F you, treehouse lovers. Take that. The neighbor wins. This world's gone nuts. Oh, boy. Should I talk about the... I think I talked about everything except for this flight I was on. Banging around a lot of papers here. You know what I'll do? I'm going to talk about this flight. This is from ABC 7 in Florida. If you remember, I played the recording. I was on a flight 2 years ago flying into Sarasota, and we were about to touch down. You could see the runway. It was one of those, if you look out the window and you're like me, I count down. I go 3, 2, 1. I got to 2. The plane shot up, like straight up. Like I didn't know a plane this big could go. This is one of those big planes. There's a big boy plane, went straight up. I go, what just happened? And then it was like a minute and 45 seconds before the pilot said anything. And I was swearing in my head at these pilots, like, tell us something. Give us an update. What's going on? Why did you... And we kept going. It wasn't like... it felt like either we didn't have landing gear, we lost an engine, we were hijacked. It just kept going. It didn't turn around. And I found out later why that was. And I found out later that these pilots actually saved my life. That there was another plane on the runway. And that they visually saw it. They'd been cleared to land by air traffic control. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound similar to what happened in D.C. Last month, where a helicopter collided with an airplane? There's not enough air traffic controllers, and they're probably checked out. They're probably lonely at work. They probably feel underappreciated. They probably feel like there's no advancement. This is where we are. In some of these jobs, although Starbucks coffee can save your life, these jobs, we're putting our hands in people that need to be checked in. And the morale has to be boosted. I'm going to lose my voice. That air in Las Vegas is so dry. But boy, do we have some good shows. I'll talk about that afterwards. NTSB, Air Traffic Control, blamed in 2023 for the close call at SRQ Airport. SRQ, Sarasota Airport. The R stands for, I don't know. And the Q stands for, I don't know. Okay. The National Transportation Safety Board has released its final findings into a near miss that happened in February 2023 at Sarasota Bradenton International Airport. Now, they've added the Bradenton. That still does not explain the S, R, or Q. The Q, the RQ part. The incident involved an Air Canada Rouge Airbus 321 and an American Airlines 737. That's me. I was on that one. February 16th, 2023. I thought I was going to die. That's one of the few times that, and when I landed in Erie, Pennsylvania, and like 50 mile per hour gusts, and the plane, it felt like it was going to be thrown right into the Great Lake there. And that was one of the scariest landings. And the flight attendant looked like they were going to throw up when we got off. Oh, you know what? Here's another scary one. Going into Aspen, Colorado. I'll never fly into Aspen again. I didn't even ski. I was going for a show and I almost died. The winds were whipping us in between these two mountains. We had to abort and ended up in Denver and then being driven. So I've had some bad experiences. This was one of the worst. My parents were in Sarasota already, and still makes me sad to think about it. I thought they were going to have to come and identify my body in a crash. That's what I thought was going to happen. So let's see. This is the incident involved. I said that already. February 16th, 2023. The Air Canada flight was cleared for takeoff on runway 14 as an American Airlines flight was cleared to land. The planes came within half a mile of each other on the same altitude. Now, let me explain to you what they mean by same altitude. The ground. The ground. The American Airlines flight began to climb instead of landing. That was us. According to the final report, the NTSB noted that 2 FAA controllers were on duty at the time, but 1 was on a break. Now, why we don't have 3, so when 1 goes on a break, we have 2, I don't know. Do I need to come in and overhaul the FAA too? And Starbucks? And whatever the other one I was just talking about? I mean, I could run any of these better. And the local controller was the only person in the tower at the time. All ATCT positions, including that of the operational supervisor, were combined. So again, this is what happened in DC. They're combining positions. Oh, now you're, it'd be like if the person at Starbucks you ordered from now ran over and cooked the muffin for you and then ran over and made your coffee. And then started cleaning outside. They're all doing too much. We should not cut corners on air traffic controller. Operations, okay. All the ATCT positions, including that of operational supervisors, were combined. So now, person's his own supervisor, her supervisor too. And the workload was stated as normal for that time of day. I don't think it's normal. Sorry. Investigators say that the controller was lying on visuals when he turned around to examine ATIS, a radio signal that distributes real-time weather information to incoming flights. The Canadian plane had not initiated its takeoff roll, and the air traffic controller heard the American Airlines say that he was going to do a go-round after noticing the Air Canada flight was still on the runway. So if the pilot flying my plane had not noticed the other plane still on the runway, we would have been toast. We would have been a sandwich of metal and human flesh. And we would have been frozen for 55,000 years like the bison and then eaten. The conclusion of the report found that the controller was paying attention to a lower level task. Yeah, like checking his Instagram or her Instagram, and failed to pay attention to what was occurring on the runway. The controller had assumed that the Air Canada flight was taking off. Assumed, but it had not begun in the time to safely allow for the American Airlines flight to land. American Airlines sent the following statement to ABC7. There is nothing more important than the safety of our customers and our team members. There should be 12 people in there, and they should have visuals, and they shouldn't clear an airplane to land until they visually see the other airline take off. This is common sense. This is mathematical common sense of life. I'm going to go back to Costa Rica and get another one of these hummingbird whistles. These, sounds native to me. That's me letting the tree people know Come back and cut the trees in a half hour. So, if you're just tuning in, this is the What's Wrong with Orny Adams podcast. This is episode 144, which means I've done 143 previous episodes, and I'll do more. I want to thank my Patreon listeners. I want to thank the people that watch on YouTube. And Patreon's where you get video first. And then a few weeks later, it ends up on YouTube. Audio is out on Spotify and, Apple, all that stuff, that crap. Not into pop culture. I didn't care about the Academy Awards. I don't care that somebody threw his gum, Adrian Brody, at his girlfriend. I don't give a shit about it. I don't care what people wore. I mean, I understand what award shows are about. I get it. And I'm checked out. I'm checked out of life, looking down, not making contact. Good weekend, though, in Las Vegas. Great shows. Thanks to all the people that keep showing up. People wearing shirts. Oh, I was walking around Las Vegas. I saw somebody wearing one of my shirts, which should have been surreal, but it was sort of just like, oh, that's one of my shirts, one of my Lower Your Expectations t-shirts from a few years ago. I go, oh, that's normal. But I love what I do when I'm on stage. I enjoy being up there, enjoy meeting people afterwards. It's all the other shit. And I'm focusing every day. I'm trying to read more, shut my device off. I'm trying to, I don't know what else I'm trying to do. Well, I'm certainly every day thinking about when I'm going to shoot my special, because I was very proud on Friday night. I did 2 70-minute shows, and there was about 45 minutes of different material in each one. And I said, I got to get this stuff out. I forgot some of this stuff, and I don't want to atrophy and disappear from my psyche and my energy and my enthusiasm to do it. I binge watched this entire show called Afflicted on Netflix, and it's these people. Some people are allergic to electricity or Wi-Fi, and they're afflicted, and you just don't know what's real and what isn't real. But I couldn't stop watching it. I said to a few people, you got to watch this. And I find that women were depressed by it. I found it fascinating. And the people in their lives that support this, because you wonder how much of it is psychosomatic, how much is in their head. Are they really allergic to mold? That's another one, mold. A lot of people are, I think they're depressed and they blame mold. I'm sure there is some mold, issues. I don't want to say across the board, but isn't there mold all around us? Certainly mold in my career. I should be sneezing all day thinking about my career. Oh, and then they go to this area. I don't know where it is, but because they've got some satellite, there can be no radio frequency. So some of these people move there and they're instantly healthy. I don't know what's real and what isn't. But I do know this. After this podcast, it's still sunny out. I'm going to go unlock my Ebike, my Super 73. I want to thank Super 73 for coming out to my house. I sent this guy out the other day. I'm not going to say his name, but the guy was unbelievable. Now, this is a guy who is not checked out. And for privacy reasons, I'm not going to say his name. I sent the CEO of Super 73, who I was corresponding with, because, if I have a problem with my bike, I go right to the top, to the CEO and the co-founder. And he connected me with this guy. This guy came out in a Super 73 van. He had just been at, I don't want to say who, but a family that's on a reality show that's really famous, and had fixed a few of their bikes. And he fixed my bike, fixed my brakes, tuned it up, helped me with an issue I was having. I love this bike, and I'm zipping around town, and it has given me a freedom. But this guy that works for Super 73, I sent the CEO. I said, this is a guy that cares about your brand. This is a guy you need to get more involved. This is a guy who needs to be promoted. This guy needs to be cloned and put in every Starbucks. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clone that Super 73 employee, and I'm going to put him in Starbucks. That's my first step, Starbucks. I'm going to clone employees I've met at other companies that are doing a great job, and I'm going to distribute them. You guys are worried about robots taking over the world. Be worried about Orny Adams and his cloning program. If you're good, you're going to be cloned. I have a clone penalty. We have a death penalty for people that we don't like. I have a clone penalty effective immediately. If you're great for this world, I can clone you and put you in Starbucks and other companies. Thank you to everybody that listens to my podcast, that rates it, that corresponds. Oh, the email. What's wrong at ornyadams.com. And I will read them. You saw it today. I read one from Rachel. I read one from JR. And I appreciate you guys. I really do. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you come see me in Sarasota and then Vegas. And the tour continues. ornyadams.com/tour. Email us what's wrong at ornyadams.com. Hey, listen, thank you so much, everybody. And I am praying either I move to Costa Rica or we return to a world where I want to make eye contact with people and connect with. Until then, thank you.